is a very flattering angle. Hey everyone, this isn't the best angle and the best camera I've ever used. I'm using my phone because this is gonna be a very vlog slash diary kind of situation, if you couldn't tell from the title. Some of you may have been waiting for this for years. I'm finally remaking my Doctor Who scarf with good audio this time and with clear instructions. I went back to my old blog to find the pattern that I used last time again. I didn't print it out this time, I just have it on the screen, and that's what I'm going to be working with. Last time I gave it a try, I made it looped, so it was a tube all around, which is very heavy, very warm. I could never wear it because it was so heavy. It weighed like 7 kilograms, which is a lot for a scarf. I followed the instructions with the number of rows to a T, and it was so long. Obviously that's accurate because Tom Baker's scarf was that long, but also Tom Baker is quite a bit taller than me. I'm gonna half the number of rows this time. Whenever it says 2 rows, I might still do 2 rows, but everything else I will do half as many rows. For example, the second stripe is 16 rows, I will do 8 in that case. To help me count, I have my handy little click counter here, which I recently bought off of Amazon and I really love it. It's helped so much. And I have obviously the huge balls of yarn that I got from unraveling my Doctor Who scarf. This one being the biggest, this is the cream one, and this one being the smallest, the purple one, in case you can't tell because of the light here. I'm changing a couple things, including this is the yellow that I used the first time around. It is 100% cotton yarn. I'm not going to be using this one because everything else is acrylic. This time I have this yarn, which is acrylic and the same brand as all the others, and it is the Royal brand from Zeeman. Same goes for the brown. This was the actual biggest ball that I have from scraps from the leftovers. This is the brown that I used. It's a tweed brown and it has 25% sheep wool in it. Obviously that made it very different, and it's thicker than the other yarn, if you can tell. So instead of this, I'm going to be using this yarn, which is also from Zeeman. However, it is the promo kind, but it's the same size and it's acrylic and it's just a bigger ball. So this time around, my scarf is going to be completely made of acrylic wool. It's going to be shorter, it's going to be thinner. I'm very much looking forward to wearing that and actually being able to wear it. So we're starting off with the cream color, and obviously we're going to have to do a cast on. I'm using circular needles for this just because it's more comfortable. I'm going to do a traditional cast on. If you don't know how to do that, you can click the card right now. There's a video where I gave a tutorial on how to do that, and we are going to cast on 40 stitches because that's what I've been doing with scarves, and I think it's a good number. Let me check that, 20 centimeters, maybe we'll do 50. 50 is a good number. We'll cast on 50 stitches. 49, 50. There we go, we've got our 50 stitches cast on. Now this doesn't look like much, it's gonna stretch, don't worry about that. I am going to knit this in knit one, purl one, so that it looks the same from both sides. If you don't know how to do knit or purl stitches, again, it's in the card. There we go, I pulled out the one needle, and I'm going to just start off with a border stitch, which I'm just going to knit from the back, and then knit the first one, purl one, knit one, purl one, until I reach the end of the row. And for the last stitch, I'm keeping my yarn in the front of my needle and just sliding that last stitch over so I can use it for my border stitch later. Here's our full length for later. I think this is a good width for a scarf. The pattern calls for 2 rows of cream in the beginning, which means that since I'm gonna have it, technically I would have to do just 1, but since we have the setup row from the cast on and then this row, that already makes 2, and I wasn't gonna change color right after the cast on. That would have been quite complicated. a lot of threads everywhere and just too much hassle. For this, I did do the 2 rows, but starting now I am going to do half the amount of rows that it says in the pattern. Put this to the side, and our next color is the brown. So I'm gonna have to open this bag here. I love it when it does this. A lot of the knitting process includes detangling your yarn. Another reason why I decided to halve the rows and half the amount of stitches this time round, as in not make it a tube but just a simple thing, is that with the amount of yarn that I got from unraveling my first scarf, I will be able to do roughly 4 scarves, which means that I can have one for myself and I can give a couple away if I want to keep knitting them once I'm done with the first one. There we go, detangled. Here's the end. Pattern says we're going to do 16, so we are going to do 8. And because 8 is more than 2, we are going to use our click counter. So going to click 1 right now and start the first row by knitting the first stitch, the border stitch from the back, and then knitting the next one normally. Purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, until I reach my 8 rows. First row of brown is done. I think we're nicely set up at this point. The knit 1, purl 1 pattern is starting to show up. If it would focus, there we go. Very clearly starting to show up, and I will keep doing my rows and check back with you later. Okay, 1 episode of Drag Race later. This is how far I've come. I am 3 out of 11 rows of red, and I think I'm going to start sewing in these ends because it's becoming a mess. But I'm really liking the size of this. I think it's gonna look really nice once it's done. I hope so. It feels like the colors are much more vibrant than they were the first time around. I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's just an optical illusion because the brown is more brown rather than just looking like gray. I'm very happy with this so far, and I'm gonna keep going after I sew in the ends. So I was gonna keep going until I have 1 stripe of each color, but I just checked my pattern and I am not even halfway to the first stripe of blue. So here's what I have so far. I am just done with the second cream stripe. I've sewn in all the ends so far except for the cream ones, obviously. The next stripe I'm gonna do is red again, and I really love how it's looking so far. It's really looking much more vibrant and much less muddy and gray and dusty than it did the first time around. I just know that it's going to be a comfortable scarf. I'm also tearing through it much quicker than I did the first time around, obviously because I halved all the rows. So here I am about 1/3 of the first quarter through. I'm going to insert a picture of the pattern that I'm using, and obviously as you can see it's kind of divided up into 4 sections, and that very first section on the far left, that 30 row long stripe of cream, that's what I just did, and it's about 1/3. That's about 1/3 of the first quarter, so I have 1/12 done, I guess. I am very happy about that. It's gonna be much quicker. Last time it took me from the beginning of August all up until Christmas to finish the scarf, and I really feel like this time it's not gonna take me months to do it. It's gonna be much more satisfying, much more gratifying to finish it much faster than that. I'm really looking forward to that, especially because I know a few people in my life who would not mind a scarf like that, and since I have the yarn to do it, I might as well do it. I know that this isn't the greatest angle and it's not the greatest format that I've ever done, but this is a knitting diary, a knitting vlog. It's not supposed to be a tutorial. I have done tutorials on knit stitches and purl stitches, and that's all I'm doing. I'm just making a scarf. It's just back and forth. It's nothing complicated. However, if this is not what you wanted from this, or if you expected something different, make sure to let me know so that I know better for next time. I'm always open for critique as long as you tell me how to do better. Just let me know, should I do overhead shots? Very probably gonna use my DSLR for the next one. I just really wanted to do this very chill on the sofa in the living room on the go, but I definitely can do with better quality. Last time I did this, a lot of the people's opinions were mostly, you need to speak up, we can't hear you. And obviously that wasn't because I wasn't speaking up. I mean, it was mostly because the microphone I had back then was absolute rubbish. I know that that is not the case anymore at this point, and I hope that we're gonna get somewhere where it's at its best. I'm glad to be doing videos about crafting again, because it is something that I do all the time, and I just miss taking the time to do this, not only on the side as a brainless thing to do while I watch a TV show or a movie or listen to a podcast, but something that I actually present for what it is by putting it in a video and showing it off, taking care of what it looks like and how I'm doing it, because I feel like that's what it deserves. And I'm rambling a lot, damn. I will make sure to pop back in, maybe next week, maybe later. I'm thinking that my work process for this is gonna be fast enough that I could do it weekly, but I also feel like I don't want it to be a dense, full, like 4 or 5 weeks, who knows how long, of only knitting videos. I'm just gonna sprinkle it in there a little so that it's not just dense knitting, but still what my channel is and always has been, which is just random, just a huge jack of all trades basically. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon.